Okay guys, welcome to Crazy Burger. Today I'm going to be looking at the difference between upgrading your firmware to version 1.1.1 or just staying with the stock firmware and keeping Pandory. Now unfortunately, with upgrading to the latest firmware, you can no longer access Pandory. Now I fortunately was able to actually use this prior to the upgrade, but I've done the upgrade since and I've not actually managed to do a video on it, but fortunately I did actually get to use it. Now unfortunately my A500 Mini is actually now upgraded to the latest firmware, meaning I can't actually use this or show this as it currently stands, which is a bit of a disappointment. But I have to clarify, it's not really the reason why I purchased an A500 Mini. So what happens if you've got Pandory just now? It really doesn't do anything. You just sort of start it as normal and it will just go to the Amiga DOS screen and it'll do absolutely nothing, because retro games have actually disabled the function of, I think it's host run, that allows this to actually run external sort of things like Retroarch, so we can't actually use this anymore as it stands. So basically Pandory lets you run Retroarch and you can play games from different formats such as Mega Drive, PlayStation for example. But what we're going to do is have a little look at the more details of Pandory, what it's involved, and whether you should actually upgrade your firmware or keep it as stock and use Pandory. It's going to be a personal choice. So if you do upgrade, you're obviously going to get access to all the benefits. You can play ADF files easily here. There's obviously more benefits, I think, to actually upgrading your firmware to not upgrading the firmware. If you don't upgrade, you can obviously get access to Pandory and maybe a few other things. But I'm sure they will find a way of upgrading this at some point so that you can access Pandory. But for me, I think I would always go with the update your firmware every time. But it is a bit unfortunate you can't access certain things. I don't know why Retro Games have decided to disable that. It's really not fair, and hopefully it will be resolved. But as it stands, you can't actually access it. But what I'm going to do, guys, is let's have a look at Pandory in a little bit more detail, and I'll discuss what I actually got to experience prior to the firmware update. So this is from the GitHub site itself, where you can download Pandory for your A500 Mini, and it says, what is Pandory? It's basically running RetroArch on your A500 Mini, and you can use all sorts of emulators. You can obviously all run A500 games as well on it, and Amiga games, sorry. You can play Mega Drive, SNES, PlayStation 1, 32X, Amiga. It's been configured with ADF and IPF support, Commodore 64, Atari ST, and so forth down the list there. It didn't come with, it came with a couple of ROMs, but you obviously have to add your own ROMs to that, and it actually worked pretty well. Obviously, I thought it was kind of a limited. I thought it has Nintendo 64 option there, but I think the controller issues kind of stuck a little bit for me. I couldn't actually get them to start. But I did play PlayStation 1 games very well. Now, I have to stress, you have to actually set this to 60Hz on your A500 Mini, or otherwise you will experience a lot of sound issues. So if you are playing this, make sure you've set it to 60Hz. It did play PlayStation games particularly well, and I'm pretty sure that will be the limit for the A500 Mini. Anything under that, it should be absolutely fine. It played Mega Drive games absolutely fine, even Commodore 64 games, absolutely brilliant. And there's a few other additional options there. You've got ScumVM games, which you can play sort of ScumVM versions of Beneath a Steel Sky, for example, which is, you know, maybe arguably one of the better versions of it. And a few other sort of things here. You can obviously play your free homebrew games that have been added by Pandory. How do you get it in? It's basically just a download. Very straightforward. It's a lot easier to probably download than the a Mini Amiga was. It's obviously a lot smaller sort of file. So you basically just download this file and put it onto your USB stick and you are good to go. That is pretty much it. It was very straightforward. And as you can see here, there is this. Please make sure you're running in 60Hz display mode, or you will experience a lot of audio stutter. I can't stress that enough. If you're actually going to play it, it does make a huge difference to the actual gameplay. Obviously, it sort of tells you here where you need to sort of drop your ROMs. It's basically, if you've ever sort of dealt with Retroarch before, it's just a whole load of folders and drop your ROMs in. It's as simple as that. There are some sort of games that you need to add your BIOS files, but I found that most of it was absolutely fine. It was already good to go. And that's it. Let's have a quick look at some of their videos that they actually created themselves. So once you've downloaded the file from the internet, you just basically got this file structure where you drag and drop all your sort of game ROMs into the relative folders. It's very straightforward, and then you boot it up to your Mini and start the Pandory file, and it should automatically boot into Retroarch as such, and you've got a list of folders. It looks really nice, it's very well set out, and obviously you need to sort of provide your own ROMs here, but it pretty much runs anything up to PlayStation. I think it does. It is capable of doing the N64 as well, but as I said, I've came across a few controller issues with that, but it's obviously capable of doing some decent PlayStation games. And you can obviously run some VM games in the full sort of talkie version of Monkey, Secret of Monkey Island, which is pretty cool. There's no doubt about that.
Sneak up on me like that.
I'm over this way.
Ah, well then, thriftily.
So you can obviously play the proper arcade games as well as playing probably the best version of Outrun, the arcade version. And it's absolutely fantastic. It plays really well. You can obviously play Mega Drive games such as Sonic the Hedgehog, Sega Mega CD games such as The Amazing Snatcher, one of my favourite games ever. So guys, that's it. It's really a personal choice. Do you upgrade to the latest firmware, then lose the access to Pandory? It's really such a tough decision. I think it would be good for everyone to experience Pandory and be able to play games through Retroarch, but I think ideally for me I would be doing the firmware update every time. It's just a pity you can't do both. Thanks for watching guys, please like, subscribe, and we'll catch you again in the next one. Bye for now.